Okay, let's talk about introductions in ASL. So just like in English and in other languages, ASL has multiple ways we could structure an introduction. These are just some of the ways. This is not the extensive list. But this is a really basic setup for how to introduce yourself using either just your first and last name, or your name and your name sign. So we start with a pronoun, my, and then we can do name, and then we would finger spell our first name. Now you see here that we also have the option of me, okay? We can also sign, and there's a slight difference here, my name versus I am to be called, or I am called, right? A noun versus a verb. Really, this one is more technically ASL grammatically correct, but we see both of them all the time. So whichever one works, let's just not mix up those pronouns when we're using them elsewhere, right? This is possessive my, this is personal me. This is possessive your, this is personal you, okay? So don't get those mixed up just because we give you some flexibility on here. So I'll show you both those versions using just the first name. Or, okay, if I wanted to incorporate my last name, I have a couple of options. I can either sign the concept of last name in between fingerspelling my first and last name, or I could simply leave that pause that Casey talked about between the first and last name. So I'll show you both of those. Or, okay. Then with name sign, very similar to last name, we can either actually sign the concept of name sign, or we could technically just leave a slight pause between finger spelling our name and giving the name sign. So I'll show you both of those. Or, okay, so that's how we would structure introductions. These are just some basic ways to do that. Make sure you replace my first name and last name with yours. And if you have a name sign, go ahead and start incorporating your name sign into your introductions. If you don't have a name sign yet, remember, you can't create a name sign for yourself. Only a deaf person can give you a name sign. Now let's talk about structuring, asking the question, what's your name, what's your last name, or what's your name sign? Again, technically, we could structure these questions a couple different ways, but we're just starting with the basics and giving you all some, a little bit of help to create these sentences. So one thing to note is that in English, we structure our WH questions starting with the WH word, right? We say, what is your name? Where are you from? Who is that? But in ASL, we put our WH concepts at the end of the utterance, or the end of the production of the sentence. You're going to learn more about this in the next module, but you'll need this for right now. So instead of saying, what's your name, okay, which is very English, we're going to sign, okay? Again, another way that that could be signed is, okay, which this what here would be more gestural, less of the actual true sign of what, but okay. So make sure those facial expressions are incorporated when we're asking those questions. Drop those eyebrows, because it's not what, this is not the sign for what, but a parameter that is required when using what as a WH question, like we are here now, is that drop of the eyebrows. We don't have to look mad. We do have to drop those eyebrows, okay? I have nice dark eyebrows, so I don't have to do a lot to drop those eyebrows. Some of you are going to have a little bit lighter eyebrows, so you may have to do a little bit more effort to make it clear that you're dropping those eyebrows, okay? So, okay, that's what's your name, right? Or your name what? For last name, okay? For name sign, okay? So just keep in mind that that WH question goes at the end when we're asking for names.